Hey y'all, welcome to another edition of the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. This is the first time ever. This episode is going to be based off my first evaluation on camera. Anybody that follow me, all my evaluations are really on my social media, and I give you my grades, I give you my favorite songs, then I keep it moving. This is the first time I'm doing it on camera. Not only that, this is the first latest episode that's going to be on my Facebook page. So there it is right here. Go ahead and hit the like button, and let's keep it moving. But let's talk about Jay-Z's 444. But before I say something and people want to start attacking everybody that I know, let me tell you this real quick. The views that Christopher J expressed does not reflect the views of anybody else behind the production of the BTSI show, unless it's Christopher J himself. That means you have a beef with me, bring it to me. Don't go to no friends, no family member. Bring it to me, and we could discuss it like men, or your woman, or whatever the terminology is. But let's get into it. Jay Z 44. What grade did I give it? My two favorite songs, rotations obviously, is The Story of OJ and Band with Damian Marley. Now, I guess some people just doesn't approve of the album for whatever the case may be. Remember, the whole entire album was produced by No ID. He did the whole entire album, and some people say, is that a good idea or a bad idea? It has it can be depending what you want or what you're going for. When I was listening to this album, I was thinking about the older generation of New York. What I mean by that is, let me the Frank Sinatra era. You could just hear it in the you can hear it in the instrumental, like, oh, you taking me back to the way back in the days in New York. It's like Jay Z was telling the story. Matter of fact, I make the argument that Jay Z is probably one of the best storytellers in hip hop today. So I can understand when people say it's not what I'm used to listening. I will say this: it's not Magna Carta, but 444 is necessary for this culture, necessary for everybody. But we needed we need an album like this from Jay Z. Don't give me no Lil Yachty. Don't give me no Migos. Don't give me no Uzi Vert. Don't give me all this nonsense that I can't even understand. Even Genius.com said fuck it. Don't even bring that to me. So it was cool. I like the album. Now let's go ahead and break some of these songs down. Let's start with Story of OJ.
According to Sean Carter, the story of OJ is about how African Americans need to move as a culture, how we need to have plans. Also, what to do with our money. Instead of buying the things that most entertainer glorifies, let's invest in businesses. Let's invest in companies. Something to see our money go so we can pass it on to our children. And as far as OJ goes, if you don't want to be associated with us, I ain't losing no sleep over it. Neither is Jay Z.
I wonder if OJ Simpson actually heard the song since he is gonna get out later on this year. I can actually, I would pay to see that confrontation. I really would. But it is one thing that Jay Z has that OJ doesn't is money. Couple of dollars will get Jay Z out the. I'm sorry, get OJ out the paint. Anywho, now let's move on. Foolish of me to think that Jay Z's next album was going to be a response, a clapback to Beyonce's Lemonade. And for those who don't know, my wife is part of the Beehive. I will choose my words carefully because I like a happy home and I like a happy wife. But that hasn't stopped me from going after the Beehive or Beyonce before. But anywho, I thought this was gonna be a clapback. I'll be like, ooh, Beyonce finna get it. Yeah, that wasn't the case. Let's go to 444.
444. Title of the album, title of the track. Jay-Z woke up from sleep. You guessed it, at 444. According to Jay-Z, this is probably one of the best songs he ever written and probably the most powerful song. Not my personal favorite, but I get what he's saying with all the things that he did wrong, the infidelities and everything. This is basically saying he is sorry for all the bullshit that he done. Takes a real man to do that. I'll admit that.
There's nothing like when a mature man owns up to his bullshit. I think that's real and I think that's deep. But does it stop there? Nope. Family Feud.
In Family Feuds, Jay-Z is talking to the older generation and the newer generation. New generation can't beef with the old generation, and the old generation just needs to let the young boys cook. If you guys need a perfect example, damn, I really hate to say this. Let's say, oh, I don't know, Joe Budden versus all the new mumble rappers. And to Joe's defense, there are some rappers he generally likes. But with the narrative that everybody want to pay Joe Budden in, that's the best example I can come up with. But of course, I thought this was another response for Lemonade. And here's what I mean by that.
Regardless of anybody say, I still believe that's Beyonce's vocals in the background somewhere. I really do. But it wasn't more of a response album. This is more of a confession. Fessing up. Red handed. And actually, I'm kind of right on this. When did that elevator situation happen? Was it 2013 or was it 2014? Either way, even then I knew that Jay-Z did something to instigate, because everybody was going all in on Solange, and to a certain degree I did too, from a different standpoint. But I was also saying, how do we know Jay-Z didn't do something to piss her off? And they said, why? How come Beyonce didn't jump into the defense of her sister? If you started this, I'm not coming to your safety. You need to get that ass whooping by yourself. And Jay Z, yeah, got that ass whooped. But he recovered. He recovered. He recovered. But ain't got much to do with anything. Like I said, this is my also one of my favorite songs on that album. I like Damian Marley. Let's go ahead and talk about Bam real quick.
Believe it or not, Bam is something the newer generation can actually listen to. And this shows, just like in Family Feud, that Jay-Z does listen to this newer generation. He knows what's going on. Notable names that he name dropped was Bobby Smurder and Ray Shremmer. And you just need to go listen to the lyrics if you didn't hear Ray Shremmer's name in it. But that's all good. I'm not judging you.
Now, to close out, I want everybody to know this is, like I said, this is not Magna Carta. Granted, this is not my favorite. This may not be my favorite Jay Z album, but this is something that I would like to listen to as a black man who is going through everyday life. Know what it is to be black. Know what it is to be discriminated on, for people to how can I say this? You look in somebody's eyes and you see the fear in their eye before you even say hi, before you say anything. People already have their minds made up about you. And as a black man, hey, it's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let that hold me back. I'm 29 years old. I am just about done with college. I am in the process of starting my own business. I want to do something to help the community. I want to start investing. That's why I said this album is needed for the culture. Stop listening to an album to just to be two stepping or whatever the case may be. Listen to this brother talk. Listen to what he like. Like I said, the story of OJ is one of my favorite songs on the album. But just go back and listen to the lyrics. Matter of fact, listen to the second verse, and that will set you up on what you need to do as a black man in this country. What you need to do to make sure your kids, your grandkids, will be well off. It'll do you wonders. Now, is this album a classic? I have a rule on that. You have 10 years to be considered a classic. And within the first 5 years, I'm not giving you that title. It is, today is June 30th, 2017. Come back to me on June 30th, 2022, and we will have this discussion if it's a classic or not. Now, what out of my grading system, how would I determine what's a classic or not? No, out of all the albums I have listened to within the past over a year, anything under 80%, I'm not calling it a classic. Here's a perfect example. Like I said, I was grading Drake's studio albums. And what grades? Well, I'll put it like this. Drake's first album, Thank Me Later, that's not a classic. Sorry. Drake's third studio album, Views, forget about it. That was the biggest participation project I've ever listened to in my life. Drake's last album, More Life, not a classic. He has hit records on the albums. I'm not saying that. But to be considered a classic, there's some criteria you have to hit. Take Care is a classic. I don't remember when Nothing Was the Same. I don't remember what year that came out, but on the 5-year mark, I will give that. Chances are I'll give that a classic nod. Now this Jay-Z album, come back in 5 years. Anything under 80% is not a classic. Anything under 80%. But still, come back to me in 5 years if you want to call it classic. And if it doesn't get the 5-year mark, come back. You have, after the 5-year mark, you have another 5 years. You have to the 10-year mark to become classic. If you're not a classic within the 10-year mark, you're just not a classic, period. So, I like the album, 83.32%. The Story of OJ, Bam is my song. I'll put that on my everyday rotation. Other than that, people, that is it. Like I said, stop listening to the album just to bump your car, dance down the street. Listen to the album to educate yourself, especially as a black man. Other than that, people, I'm Christopher J. I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.